right, good morning, everybody. AJ.
Morning, Scott.
Always a pleasure. This is my favorite time of year. Out here in the garden, it's been lying dormant now since what? September, early October? Probably October,
Late
right?
October.
Late
Maybe
October.
even early November. It went late.
Yeah, it went very, very late last year because it was so warm last fall. So now we're at the time where we're getting the garden ready, getting the soil ready, and hopefully planting here very soon.
Yeah, we'll be planting in a couple weeks.
Exactly.
So this is, if you're going to do a vegetable garden, this is the most important thing to do. If you're not going to amend the soil, it's almost not worth putting in the garden. We used to do comparisons where we would amend half the garden and then not amend half the garden. And the amended half would be lush, it'd be bountiful, I mean just produce everywhere. And the unamended half would be sickly, they wouldn't grow very much, almost like stunted. So amending the garden, this is the most important thing to do. It's the foundation of your success throughout the entire summer. And it's really, it's fun to do, it's not that bad to do. So what you want to do, what we do at the garden here, and this, you can kind of see the soil, just how rich and how dark it is.
I mean,
that's what you want.
It's real fluffy.
I know, it's really soft. It's really, it's just awesome. We've been amending the soil for 10, 15 years now, so this is unbelievable. But you want to take some peat moss, some composted cow manure. We put some garden tone and just layer it on. So put a layer, basically like an inch or two of peat moss, a couple inches of compost, and then put some garden tone over that, and then some lime over that. And then you basically turn it over with a shovel. So, you know, get in there, turn it over, and then with a rototiller, go through rototill it, and that'll get it nice and loose and smoothed out. So also, if you haven't used it, Soil Perfector's something that's amazing.
Yeah, you always mention that. I've never used it before. Talk about that.
So it's unbelievable. It keeps that soil nice and loose. So the reason why like the soil in this garden is so springy, you know, that stops the soil from compacting down over the wintertime. And once you get it in the soil, it's there forever. So you don't have to keep, you know, once you build up enough of it, you don't have to keep adding that year over year over year. So it really does a great job, you know, keeping the soil really nice and really loose.
Real quick here, is there something you can overdo in your garden with? I mean, you could overdo all of this, but what's the one thing you have to be careful of, not to add too much where it'll mess up the pH and make it too hot, as they like to say?
If you go crazy on lime, you know, stick to the instructions on the bag for lime, and then stick to composted organics. So if you're looking at adding chicken manure, there's some fresher manures and different concoctions, that's where you get a little bit risky. But if you get just composted cow manure, that's all you need. You really don't need anything hotter than that or anything that's got more nutrients than that. Because supplementing that with the garden tone will help, and that'll keep everything consistent. Because getting into the chicken manures and
too much
the different types of manures, that's where you start getting a little spicy. And then now is also the great time to start getting into cold crops. So we've got, you know, kale, lettuce is great, and once you get that lettuce going, whether you're doing it in containers or doing it in the garden, you know, you can harvest a nice block of it, and then by the time you harvest, you know, put in 3-4 blocks. By the time you get to the fourth block, the first block's ready to harvest again. So it's really just a nice continuous thing that you can harvest right away, right now. I mean, that lettuce, that's probably gonna be dinner tonight.
Now, probably, right?
That's going to my belly tonight. And it's also a great time to put in your cold crops. So, you know, your broccoli, your cauliflower, collards, any of the greens, strawberries are great. So just a great time to put all that in, and then, you know, a couple weeks we'll be putting the whole thing in.
That's crazy. Now, you mentioned lettuce too, because I've run into this. It starts getting warm, and the lettuce doesn't really respond well. You know, if you plant now, that lettuce probably be good through July,
it depends on how quickly it starts to heat up. When you started getting a really extreme heat, it'll start to bolt. But until then, as long as it stays in the 70s, 80s, you'll be good to go.
Gotcha. All right, well, here we are.
Beautiful.
Love that dark soil. That looks so awesome.
It looks awesome.
All right.
Thanks, Scott.
Jen, we'll send it back to you.